Welcome to the second lesson of the fifth module from our cybersecurity course. This course is presented to you by TCSC London Academy and the instructor Mr. Isam Ifarud Jain. In the lesson, we will discuss the concept of compliance framework. We will also explore two real-world examples, GDPR and PCI DSS. Understanding compliance frameworks. Compliance frameworks are structured sets of guidelines, standards, and best practices designed to help organizations establish and maintain effective security controls, policies, and procedures. These frameworks are developed to ensure that businesses adhere to regulatory requirements, industry standards, and security best practices. Compliance frameworks play a crucial role in mitigating risks, safeguarding sensitive data, and maintaining a strong cybersecurity posture. Key components of compliance frameworks. 1. Regulations and laws. Regulations and laws refer to legal requirements established by governmental authorities to govern specific aspects of cybersecurity, data protection, privacy, and information governance. These regulations are legally binding and enforceable, and non-compliance can result in penalties, fines, or legal action. Examples include the General Data Protection Regulation, GDPR, the Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act, HIPAA, and the Payment Card Industry Data Security Standard, PCI DSS. 2. Industry standards. Industry standards are voluntary guidelines and best practices developed by industry organizations, consortia, or professional associations to promote uniformity, consistency, and excellence in cybersecurity practices across sectors. While compliance with industry standards is typically not legally mandated, adherence demonstrates a commitment to meeting industry-recognized benchmarks for security and data protection. Examples include the ISO 27001 for Information Security Management Systems, the NIST Cybersecurity Framework, and the Center for Internet Security (CIS) controls. 3. Security controls. Security controls include technical, administrative, and physical safeguards implemented to protect information systems, data, and resources from cybersecurity threats and vulnerabilities. These controls are designed to mitigate risks, enforce security policies, and ensure compliance with regulatory requirements and industry standards. Security controls may include access controls, encryption, intrusion detection systems, IDS, intrusion prevention systems, IPS, firewalls, antivirus software, security incident and event management, CM, systems, and physical security measures. They are tailored to address specific risks and support the overarching security objectives of an organization. 4. Policies and procedures. These are documented guidelines and protocols that outline the specific actions, processes, and responsibilities necessary to comply with regulations and standards. Policies define the overarching principles, while procedures provide detailed instructions on how to implement those principles. 5. Risk management. Compliance frameworks typically incorporate risk management practices to identify, assess, and mitigate risks to the organization's assets, operations, and reputation. This involves conducting risk assessments, establishing risk tolerance levels, and implementing controls to manage and reduce identified risks. 6. Auditing and monitoring. Compliance frameworks emphasize the importance of regular auditing and monitoring activities to ensure ongoing adherence to regulatory requirements and industry standards. Audits assess compliance with policies, procedures, and controls, while monitoring involves real-time surveillance of systems and processes to detect and respond to compliance deviations or security incidents. 7. Documentation and record-keeping. Effective compliance requires comprehensive documentation and record-keeping practices to demonstrate adherence to regulatory mandates and industry best practices. This includes maintaining records of policies, procedures, risk assessments, audit findings, and compliance activities for internal review and external validation purposes. 8. Training and awareness. Compliance frameworks recognize the critical role of personnel in maintaining regulatory compliance and cybersecurity resilience. Therefore, they include provisions for training programs and awareness initiatives to educate employees about their compliance responsibilities, cybersecurity risks, and best practices for safeguarding sensitive information. These components work in conjunction to establish a robust framework for achieving and maintaining compliance with applicable regulations, standards, and industry guidelines, thereby enhancing organizational security posture and reducing the risk of non-compliance penalties and reputational damage. Let's talk about compliance framework in practice. The NIST Cybersecurity Framework, developed by the National Institute of Standards and Technology, NIST, is widely adopted by organizations as a guide to managing and reducing cybersecurity risks. It provides a flexible and risk-based approach to improving cybersecurity posture, emphasizing continuous improvement. Take a moment to reflect on the framework course structure as per NIST as shown in the picture below. It provides a complete picture on the identify, protect, detect, respond, and recover functions. For more details, refer to the reference link of NIST. For more clarity, let's take a closer look at two real-world examples, GDPR and PCI DSS. 1. General Data Protection Regulation, GDPR. The General Data Protection Regulation, GDPR, is a comprehensive data protection and privacy regulation enacted by the European Union, EU, in 2018. GDPR aims to harmonize and strengthen data protection laws across EU member states while granting individuals greater control over their personal data. It applies to organizations that process the personal data of EU residents, regardless of where the organizations are located. Key components of GDPR. Data subject rights. GDPR grants individuals more control over their personal data. This includes the right to access, correct, and delete their data. Individuals also have the right to know how their data is being processed. Data Protection Officer, DPO. Organizations processing sensitive data must appoint a DPO to oversee GDPR compliance. The DPO ensures that data protection policies are followed, conducts audits, and serves as a point of contact for data subjects. Consent. GDPR requires organizations to obtain explicit and freely given consent from individuals to process their data. Consent must be specific, informed, and easy to withdraw. Data breach notification. Organizations must report data breaches to relevant authorities within 72 hours of becoming aware of the breach. Individuals affected by a breach must also be informed without undue delay. Accountability and governance. GDPR mandates that organizations implement data protection policies and demonstrate compliance. This includes maintaining records of data processing activities, conducting data protection impact assessments, and adhering to the principle of privacy by design. Data portability. Data subjects have the right to request and receive their personal data from one controller and transfer it to another. This promotes data mobility and competition among service providers. Privacy impact assessments, PIAs. PIAs are required for high-risk data processing activities. They help organizations identify and mitigate privacy risks associated with new projects or processes. Data protection by design and by default. GDPR encourages organizations to incorporate data protection into their systems and processes from the outset. This includes minimizing data collection and implementing strict access controls. International data transfers. When transferring data outside the European Economic Area, EEA, organizations must ensure an adequate level of data protection. This may involve using standard contractual clauses or binding corporate rules. Penalties. GDPR introduces significant penalties for non-compliance. Fines can be as high as 4% of a company's global annual turnover or €20 million, whichever is higher. In 2019, Google was fined €50 million under GDPR by the French Data Protection Authority, CNIL, for lack of transparency and valid consent mechanisms in its advertising personalization practices. The case underscored the importance of GDPR compliance, even for tech giants. The second example we will cover in this lesson is the Payment Card Industry Data Security Standard, PCI DSS. The Payment Card Industry Data Security Standard, PCI DSS, is a globally recognized set of security standards established to protect payment card data and sensitive information. Payment card transactions, including merchants, service providers, financial institutions, and processors. The standard was developed to mitigate risks associated with data breaches, fraud, and unauthorized access to payment card information. Key components of PCI DSS. Build and maintain a secure network. Install and maintain a firewall configuration to protect cardholder data. This ensures that network vulnerabilities are identified and addressed. Protect cardholder data. Protect stored cardholder data through encryption and secure cryptographic key management. This safeguards sensitive payment card information from unauthorized access. Maintain a vulnerability management program. Implement and maintain antivirus software, and regularly update and patch systems to address vulnerabilities. This mitigates the risk of exploitation through known vulnerabilities. Implement strong access control measures. Restrict access to cardholder data by assigning a unique ID to each person with computer access and enforcing access controls. This ensures that only authorized individuals can access sensitive data. Regularly monitor and test networks. Track and monitor all access to network resources and regularly test security systems and processes. This helps detect and respond to suspicious activities promptly. Maintain an information security policy. Develop and maintain a security policy addressing information security for employees and contractors. This provides clear guidelines for secure practices within the organization. Protecting data in transit. Encrypt cardholder data that is transmitted across open, public networks. This ensures the confidentiality of data during transmission. Regularly monitor and test security systems. Continuously monitor and test security systems and processes to identify vulnerabilities or weaknesses. This helps maintain an up-to-date and effective security posture. Control access to cardholder data. Restrict physical access to cardholder data and use access control mechanisms to limit access to authorized personnel. This ensures the physical security of data and prevents unauthorized access. Regularly test security systems and processes. Implement regular security testing and assessment procedures to identify and mitigate vulnerabilities. This ensures the ongoing effectiveness of security measures. These key components of PCI DSS are vital for organizations handling payment card data to maintain a secure environment and protect sensitive financial information. In 2013, retail giant Target experienced a massive data breach that compromised payment card information of over 40 million customers. The breach led to increased emphasis on PCI DSS compliance across the retail industry and highlighted the importance of securing payment card data. For more details, refer the provided link below. This standard is maintained up to date and the latest release is PCI DSS 4.0. Please feel free to visit the link for more details or refer to the dedicated training on the topic provided by TCSC London Academy. In this lesson, we've covered the following topics. Compliance frameworks. Examples of compliance frameworks. The GDPR regulation. PCI DSS key components. Stay with us for the next lesson, where we will cover cybersecurity laws and regulations. See you there.